Hey, what's up, my people? All right, I'm back on for my 30 lives in 30 nights. All right, tonight I had to come on a little bit early because I'm actually doing a workshop for a colleague of mine, Johnny Lynham. I'm doing a workshop for his students tonight in a little while. So I came on a little early tonight to give you guys the game. Tonight, I'm talking about the three biggest mistakes that real estate investors make that derail their real estate investing career. And it derails it relatively quick, whether they're a beginning investor or if they're a veteran investor. All right. My name's Gene Boykin. I'm the founder of the GoGetter Family Academy. All right. And this channel, man, the mission of my channel is to give you guys the actionable knowledge that you need to go out here and to actually execute this business, man, to do it, to do transactions, to close transactions, and to do it on your own terms. As long as you know the rules of the game, man, because how can you win the game if you don't know the rules? So I want all of you guys to hit that like button. And if you're new to my channel, consider subscribing to get us in the algorithm so that we can get this knowledge out to the everyday hardworking people. All right. Or you can just be a player about it. You know what I mean? And hit that subscribe button. But hey, thanks for joining me tonight, guys. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Also, if you can, put where you're from, man, when you ask that question. I'm a small town Iowa guy. I like to know where people are from, man, watching. All right. So thanks for joining me tonight.
I'm a go-getter. They some go-getters. We some go-getters. Hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter. They some go-getters. We some go-getters. Hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter. Hustle to the end, we some no-quitters. Knock it out the park, we for show hitters. Right, left hemisphere, that's a dome splitter. Yeah. We control our own destiny. Make moves, cultivate whole legacy. Creative finance, bring more ecstasy. The right ingredients, now that's a dope recipe.
All right, what's up, y'all? I say I got some viewers on here tonight, man. My boy Nick Bravo's here. What's good? Yeah, take them notes, homie. That's what I used to do. Shit, I still take notes, man. I'm a student for life, you know what I mean? But thanks for joining me, bro. Hey, the Mike Show, all the way from Kansas City, Missouri. I was just down in Kansas City, man. We stayed the night down there because we caught our flight out of KCI going to Mexico. So stayed the night at a little hotel right by the airport. Nice hotel. Ate me a little barbecue while I was down there. I like Kansas City, man. Pretty humid down there though. But guys, thanks for joining me tonight. All right. So tonight we're gonna dive into the things that you should not do. All right. If you're a real estate investor, if you're a budding real estate investor, right, an aspiring real estate investor, or a veteran real estate investor, man, and you're doing these things, you've pretty much gotten lucky so far if you're still in the game. Straight up. Yeah, I had to hit that inhaler for this one. Woo. So, guys, there are a few mistakes, man, that a lot of people make because they just aren't familiar enough with the game, right? And the thing about it is we hear about real estate all the time because real estate, guys, is the best way to create wealth. All right. Now, most people that are wealthy, they started with real estate in that portfolio in one way, shape, or form. Now, if they didn't start with real estate, they put real estate in their portfolio once they got some money. All right. So real estate. So we're always hearing about it, you know. But the thing is we hear about the traditional way of doing it, right? The traditional way, the way that they wanted us to do it, so that it was difficult, right? There's a lot of restraints on it when it came to the regular people, right, like us. So, and that is not by accident, all right? It is definitely by design. So, I'm going to talk to you guys about these mistakes, man, because the thing is, when you're getting into real estate investing, listen, so last summer, guys, and it was a shame too, man. It was a damn shame how this played out. Um, Last summer, I was looking in the it was last August, as a matter of fact. I was looking in the legal section of my newspaper for some foreclosures, right? Because I like to go after houses that are off market and distressed. So anyway, I'm looking and I see the name on one of them, and it's in a beautiful neighborhood in my city, man. I like pretty houses. I'll buy ugly houses, but I love pretty houses. So it's in a beautiful neighborhood in my city called God's Country. And then I see the name on the foreclosure action, and I know the name. My city's not that big. It's about 80,000. So I know the name, and I'm like, oh man, let me call these people and let them know, hey, there's a way out. I can help you, this, that. So I call them, and she knows me. I know her and her husband, and they were going to auction in about a month. And this is the thing. Now, social media, man, social media is boy, hey, people put out the image that they want people to think that their life is this way. They put that image out on social media, right? So when I saw the name, I'm like, what? They're in foreclosure? Shit. So because on social media, like, they're doing great, dude. They're going on vacations, they're buying new houses, supposedly buying new houses. But anyway, I talked to her. I call her. I say, hey, you know what I do? I'm in real estate investing, and I help people that are in these types of situations, because most people don't know that they still have some options. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if anybody can help us, this, that. And I'm telling her I can. And I ask her, well, how has it been dealing with your lender? And I was really trying to get to the bottom of why they went into foreclosures. So to make a long story short, she tells me, she says, the house that's going up to auction is actually our investment property. Yeah, it's their investment property. So they had built their credit up. They had a house that they lived in, right? Boom, bought that. And they got a mortgage on it. Then they wanted to do the American dream, right? What most people think. They wanted to be investors. So they went and they got another mortgage to buy an investment property. And this property was in a great neighborhood, but it needed a lot of repairs. So the husband, they both had full-time jobs. They had like two kids. And the husband, after he got off of work, would go to their investment property and do the repairs, because he was a pretty handy guy. And they're thinking that okay, Ricio on here. All right, Balpley on here. What's up, homie? So they're of the mind that hey, we won't have to pay that much for the work, because my husband knows how to do the work, and he can do it after he gets off of work. So imagine this, guys. You work 8, 10 hours a day, 8 or 10 hours a day, for a job that you probably don't like. And then as soon as you get off from there, you got to go over to your investment property and do the repairs to that. And that's not easy work. You know what I mean? So after a while, that shit gets old, dude. Like, you need a break. You know what I mean? You want to rest a little bit. Zuli D, what's good? So, so anyway, the wife ends up having a medical emergency, and she had to have a bunch of surgery, stuff like that. She was out of work. And then the husband was doing the work on the investment property. Well, now he's got to take care of the kids and stuff more often, because the wife had this medical situation. So the investment property, that just gets pretty much forgotten about. Well, not forgotten, but they can't go over there and do anything. And then they begin to fall behind on payments. They ended up having to file bankruptcy. So, guys, the reason why I told this story is because this is what happens to a lot of investors. 95% of real estate investors fail. And that is a true number. The first time I heard that number, I didn't believe it, but I heard it from a heavy hitter. So I believed it in that conversation we were having. But as soon as we got off that Zoom call, I went and looked it up. And sure enough, it is 95%. So anyway, the house ends up going into foreclosure. They had to file bankruptcy, stuff like that. And I'm letting her know, like, hey, there's still some stuff that we can do. You don't have to lose everything on this. And she's, oh, I don't care about the money. I'm not concerned. She's trying to uphold that image still. And I'm like, listen, I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you, because I deal with these situations all the time. So I know that things come up in life and that they're out of your hands. And so just because you couldn't pay your mortgage, that does not mean that you're any less of a person. But yet and still, man, she didn't want to believe. And then she was acting like she didn't care about the money. I said, well, you can take the money that I would be able to give you, and you can put that in a trust fund for your kids. Since you don't need the money, you think your kids might? If you have another medical emergency and you happen to die this time? Like, people are foolish, man. So long story short, I didn't get that house. The house ended up going to auction, but they fell into that situation because, one, they were only going off of the traditional way of doing real estate. Got a loan. They wanted to do a fix and flip, get a house that needs a lot of work, but the house needed a lot of work, right? Like $40,000 worth of work. So, they ended up losing the house going to going to auction. So the first thing I want to talk to you about tonight of what not to do, man, that this is what people do that get into real estate investing and fail. The first thing is they go after on market deals. On market, man. It's for sale. If it's for sale, you should not be going after it. You shouldn't. And I knew that intrinsically before I even knew this creative strategy. I was looking at foreclosed homes, man, pre-foreclosure. I just knew. I was like, man, I got to get something where these people need some help so they'll hurry up and sell to me. And I still didn't even know how I was going to pay for the house at the time, man. I didn't know about this strategy of becoming the bank, but I still knew I needed a distressed property off market because guys, on market, especially if it's being sold by a realtor, they want retail value. The first reason behind that is because when a person hears realtor or hears that you are a realtor, oh, well, how much can you get me for my house? Because they just feel like realtors are going to get the top dollar for that house. Then you've got to add on commissions, closing costs, and all the other miscellaneous fees, man, which the rule of thumb is 15 to 18% of your asking price that goes towards all those fees, commissions, and closing costs, man. 15 to 18%, so every 100,000, knock 15,000 off, knock 18,000 off, right? So on market deals, and then even for sale by owner, right? Now I'll go after a for sale by owner, but I need that house to have been on the market for really a bare minimum of 60 days, but I like them to be on for at least 90 days, really 90 days or more, right? But on market, because everybody wants retail, you have got to flip that. You've got to go to off market deals. Off market. Understand, guys, that we don't buy houses. We don't. We buy problems. If we can be a solution to the problem, well, then damn it, we get paid very well and we get a house as a side effect. And a real quick story, man, and this is on my YouTube from back in I want to say April. I did a 1 hour and 50-minute interview with two ladies from St. Louis that I helped become the bank and get a house for no money out of pocket, no credit checks. They made $18,000. But prior to meeting me, they paid $10,000 for a wholesaling mentorship. And they were being taught the wrong way to do it. I mean, completely wrong too. And I couldn't believe what their mentor, the expert, was telling them to do. It's ridiculous. They were telling them to go to on market deals, go to realtors and put in an offer on the houses that they have them listed, right? Houses that are listed, and they were trying to wholesale these properties. Guys, that's virtually impossible. I mean, it's next to impossible. So their first 6 deals that they got under contract, they ended up having to cancel those deals and losing their earnest money deposit because these were on market deals that their offer got accepted. So then, since their offer got accepted, now they're wholesaling it. So they've got to go find a buyer and they got to charge more than what they offered for it. So nobody would buy it from them because it was too much, because it was an on market deal, guys. So off market deals, off market, that is the first thing. All right. Guys, listen, if you want to be successful in real estate investing, you've got to go after off market, no competition leads. If you don't, you're going to have a hard time doing this, a very hard time doing this. All right. So that's the first tip. Now, the second thing is this, guys. Now, there's a reason that I do business the way that I do business, right? So, okay, sorry guys, I got some leads coming in from my text campaign, man. I apologize, but we're rocking and rolling over here. My text campaign's going hard. Yeah, man, I've gotten 3 warm leads in the last 2 days. One in Las Vegas, 2 in Las Vegas, one in Denver. Beautiful houses, all off my foreclosure list too. So anyway, sorry about that. So the second thing is this: there's a reason why I do business the way that I do business. One, because I did 3 fix and flips the first 3 years that I was doing real estate, and I was doing real estate the traditional way, borrowing money from the bank, man. And that is extraordinarily difficult to say the least. So the second thing is this: when you When you go buy an investment property, whether you go borrow money from the bank to buy, borrow money from grandma, whatever, man, or use your own money, or you use our strategies and you become the bank and you take over existing debt, or you turn the seller into your bank and you make payments to them. Contractors, guys, on the fix, because once you acquire that property, okay, cool, phase one is done, you've acquired the property, right? But now most people feel, especially with the traditional way of real estate investing, they've got to get something that they call it a value add. What value can I add to this property? So they've got to get a property that needs updates, right? That needs updates. Now you don't want any like structural issues or foundation issues or like huge plumbing issues, because that's going to cost a lot, and that really doesn't add to the value because people can't see it. It's more aesthetic things that add to the value, right? So um if you're going out and you're doing real estate the traditional way and you're looking for houses that you can add value to, well, naturally there's going to be work that needs to be done. So guys, contractors, and I love contractors, I do, man. Contractors, I do a lot of business with contractors. Matter of fact, the guy that just gave me the $40,000 check as a down payment for my house I just sold, he's a contractor. His dad's a contractor. His dad bought the red tag house that my first viral video on TikTok, right? Contractors. But listen, they're called contractors. Con being the primary word there. Dude, now contractors, man, this is the thing about a contractor. They sell their time. And there's not enough time in the day to get rich. So what a lot of contractors do, and this is not an indictment against contractors, but this has been my experience, so I'm just speaking on my experience here. What a lot of contractors do is they'll go and they'll tell you everything that you want to hear to get a job done. Oh, it's going to cost this much. They'll come in low, right? Oh, the materials won't be that bad. They'll cost this much, okay. And then, well, usually we get half of the money up front for a job, 50%, da da da. And they're trying to see if you're a rookie. They're trying to see if you are a rookie, because nobody, and I mean nobody that is a veteran in this game, pays their contractors up front for anything. Matter of fact, you damn near want to walk the opposite direction if a contractor wants you to buy the material, even. Now, I might do that, but any money up front? Absolutely not. Nothing, not a dime, not a penny. Dude, I went to the driving range one day, and there's one at this like biker bar in my city, man. This was last summer. It was around lunchtime. It was about 12:30. I was there from 12:30 to 1:30. I go in the bar to pay, because I don't drink, but I go in the bar to pay for my golf, right? My for the driving range. And all I see in there, guys, are contractors. Then I walk out to go to the driving range, and I hear a contractor on his phone. He must have been talking to the investor, man, or the owner of the property, because he's like, "Yeah, I'm over there right now, and we need a 3 foot, 4x6 piece of wood, and Jerry's over here trying to pound this thing into the." And I'm like, "Over there right now, dude? You're at the bar having a drink, man." And so he's sitting there, man. So what contractors do is they'll sell these people a dream, they'll get their money, and then they'll go to the next schmuck, man, and sell them a dream, and they'll get their money. And now they got all these pans in the fire, right? And they just don't have enough time to get around to all the jobs, so they just throw their hands up and say to hell with it. The deaf couple that I helped, man, they got screwed over by a contractor. And what's crazy is even veteran investors go for this, because that red tag house that went viral on my TikTok, right? That the red tag. Well, a realtor was involved with that because it was in a great neighborhood. So she was going to pay for the fix for it, while the contract holder of that house, the contract owner, not the actual owner, the contract owner, and her boyfriend were going to do the actual work. Sweat equity, that was their part of the deal, because the boyfriend was a contractor. So the realtor, man, and this realtor, she owns investment properties, rentals in my city, everything. She was still dumb enough to give the contractor $10,000 up front to go get materials or something. I don't even know what it was for. Man, he got that $10,000. Pew, took off, was gone. There's a story about it in my YouTube, man, down in the first few videos. He got that 10,000 and ran off. So the realtor, she ended up putting a lien on that property for 10 grand because of that contractor, guys. So your contractors, if you do need a contractor to do work, You don't pay them up front. Do not pay them up front. You don't give them a dime up front, not a penny. Okay. I don't care. They might try to fast talk you or whatever. Do not give them a penny up front. You don't pay them until work is done. Now, you can pay them incrementally, right? They get paid in phases. So once, whatever you decide is done, right? Once the bathroom and the kitchen is done, I'll give you this amount. And then once the flooring and the paint is done, I'll give you this amount. Pay them in phases. That's worst case scenario, right? What you really want to do is pay them when they're fucking done. But don't pay them any money up front. That's the second mistake, because listen to me, guys. When we're out here doing this real estate thing, we go through hell to acquire the property. We got to find it, we got to analyze it, we got to negotiate with the seller, then we got to do all that. If you're financing it through a bank, you got to go through that hell, right? So that's work in and of itself. But the scary thing, and the reason why 95% of real estate investors fail, is because once you've acquired that property, now it's time for the fix. So that means your entire real estate investing business is in the hands of a contractor, because there's nothing you don't know how to do the work. There's nothing you can do. So now your real estate investing business and your business is in the hands of a contractor. So you're sitting up at night, man, praying and can't sleep, and mind's going everywhere, hoping that this person's gonna get that work done. You know what I mean? Hoping that this person's gonna get that work done, and then you got to babysit grown men. You know what I mean? You got to babysit adults. So that's why really I don't like to do fix and flips. Period. I don't like to do them, period. I'm not saying that I won't do them at all, but I don't like to, man. So if I have a choice not to, I won't. The house that I just put on the market and got that $40,000 down payment for, what I did was, because it needed a ton of work, there's $27,000 of work that went into that house. What I did was I partnered with a local business owner that wants to become an investor, and he uses the BRRRR strategy. So he's been having a difficult time finding houses that he can buy. Anyway, I partnered with him, and my half of the deal was the acquisition of the property. I got us this house, acquired it. His half of the deal was doing the fix, all of the work, paying for the material, all that. So that was his half of the deal. So I wasn't tripping about that. That's why I was cool with it, right? Because he's pretty much invested in this situation, right? But he's a good dude anyway. I mean, they're definitely good contractors, guys. All right. Now, the third and final mistake, I believe, that investors make, man, beginning real estate investors and veteran real estate investors. I mean, you guys remember the real estate crash was not that long ago, guys. 2008. All right. 2008 was the real estate crash where shit just went nuts. And there was a crash because of this, because a lot of people, most people, as a matter of fact, borrowed money from a bank to buy that investment property. And then they continued to borrow money, right? They borrow more money to go buy another investment property, or they refinance the house that they already borrowed money to buy. And what happened was they became over leveraged and they couldn't service that debt anymore. And then when you borrow money from a bank to buy a house, now you're at the whim of the market, because if the market shifts and it goes downward, the value of that property goes down, but you still owe that amount that you borrowed to buy it. So you're servicing that debt and you're underwater. So you can't even sell it. If something happens in life, man, you have some sort of emergency, lose your job, whatever it is, and you need to sell your investment property. Well, if the market value has went down, you're going to be underwater. You're going to owe more than it's worth. So, guys, if you can buy a property, which you can, without borrowing any money from a bank, you need to do it that way, because then you're not over leveraging yourself. You are giving yourself a fair chance. Who cares about equity, man? Equity is a sham anyway. You can't eat equity. And the only way that you can use your equity is if you borrow against that equity. So now really it's not even your equity anymore, because you borrowed against it. So you borrowed that equity, right? You took the money out, you refinanced or whatever, and you got that chunk of money, but you have to pay back that money. So how is it yours if you got to pay it back? That's why when people say my equity, well, no, not really. Only way it's your equity is when you sell, and then Uncle Sam takes a huge amount for capital gains taxes. But Equity is a sham. To get your equity, you either have to use that asset as collateral and borrow from the bank to get that equity, right? So you either got to do that or you got to sell that asset. So forget about equity, guys. It's about cash flow. It's about monthly cash flow. That is what is going to determine if you are wealthy. So if you, and then hard money lenders too, some of them guys are sharks. They exploit people, man, and they just make it unreasonable. So you really damn near impossible to pay back that hard money loan that you got, and now they get that house that you put all the hard work in for. All right. So don't borrow money from lenders if you don't have to. The only people that I would borrow money from are private money lenders. That's what I'm doing on the house I'm taking possession of on the 1st of September is I'm getting some money from a private money lender. Boom. Simple as that. That's not a bank. He's a mom and pop, mom and pop people, man. I love private money lenders. So the three mistakes that you do not want to make. And for those of you that are just popping on tonight, I'm talking about the 3 mistakes that real estate investors make and what you should not do, right? How you can counteract that. So guys, hit that like button. All right. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing if you feel like I brought you some value. The 3 mistakes, and then I'll answer a couple of questions, are the first the first mistake is going after on-market deals. You don't want on-market deals. You got to go after off-market, no competition leads, man. The second thing is paying your contractor up front. Paying your contractor up front or putting too much trust in that contractor, man, will destroy you. And then the third mistake is borrowing money, personally guaranteeing debt for an investment property. Dangerous, dangerous, especially now with the market teetering. Oh man, it's really dangerous. So guys, you can avoid all 3 of those things. Now let me see what we got here. So Nick says, I'm only finding pay sites for sheriff's auctions. Are they still reliable? All right. So this is what I would do, man, because there are a ton of pay sites. Like those are the ones that they put up there for you to find first because they pay Google to get up there to the top of the search engine. Right. So you got to look for your county website. It might say .org or .gov instead of .com, or it might say .com too still. But if you can't find it, what you want to do is this. Whatever county that is that you're in, you want to call the county sheriff's office and just ask them how you get the auction list. How do I get the foreclosure auction list? That's it, because it's public record, man. So they got to give it to you. So I would assume that paid sites are reliable, and all I can do is assume because I've never paid for one. I refuse to. I won't do that. I won't do it. The only people that I'll pay is if I've got to pay the county for website access. Sometimes you might have to pay the county for website access, but those fees are going to be nominal, man, like little fees. They're not going to be that big. So I can't answer that to certainty, Nick, because I've never done it. Okay. The Mike Show. The Mike Show says, if I wanted to wholesale the property, would it be a good idea to get a forbearance? And how do you get a delay of sale? So, or how does that work? So yeah, if you want to see what a forbearance does is Mike Show, is that it gives you more time. It extends your time out, and there's no holding costs then either, because when you get a forbearance, you don't have to pay that existing mortgage payment or catch up the back payments. So therefore, no holding costs, which is good for you, right? Because you're not paying any mortgage payment or anything. But what it also does is you get more time until that auction is going to happen or until you have to start paying that mortgage. Therefore, it gives you more time to go out and find a buyer. You can even wholesale it. And what that means is you do a couple of repairs and you list it on the MLS with a realtor and get retail price out of it, right? But you can wholesale it as well. But yes, if you can get a forbearance, I always recommend doing that. Absolutely. Now, the delay of sale is different, okay? The delay of sale is actually so a forbearance and a delay of sale are 2 different things. All right. The delay of sale, though, however, is not with the lender. The lender doesn't do the delay of sale. It's actually the district court that does that delay of sale. So that's going to be based off your state laws, like where I'm at in Iowa. right? We can get a 90-day delay of sale. We can get a 90-day delay of sale. The way that we do that is you just got to do a motion in court. And a motion in court is simple, man. You can write out a letter requesting a delay of sale, but you have to do it by a certain time, right? Or when you're at your foreclosure proceeding, you just stand up when it's your turn to talk and say, I'd like a delay of sale. And they grant it. Boom, 90 days, right? That's Iowa. However, I got a student in New Jersey, right? We were getting a house out there and the auction was coming up. And I'm like, dude, we got to do some research to see how we can slow this thing down because I know that it's different everywhere. And in Jersey, all he had to do was bring a photocopy of the owner's ID, a letter requesting a delay, and then like a $24 money order, I think it was. And the people that could get that delay were either the owner themselves, the owner's attorney, or the owner's power of attorney. All right. And that's all you had to do. And then you could get a 30-day delay. And the auction was at 1:30. You could go all the way up until 12 p.m. that day and put in that request for a delay. So you can get that delay on the day of the auction. Right. So after that 30-day delay, you got one more time to do that. So you wait till the day of the auction if you still needed it, and you do the same thing over again. Photocopy of the owner's ID, letter, and like $24 money order, you get another 30-day delay. So it's different, Mike Show, all right, in each state on the delay of sale, but the forbearance, really simple, man. You just call the lender and say, I'm requesting a forbearance. That's all you got to do. Yeah, that's right, Zuli D. Mike Show says, can we JV with you on a deal? Yeah, man, shit. If the deal's good enough, I'm with it. You know what I mean? I'm absolutely with it. You know, my first priority though, Mike Show, to just keep it 100, man, because that's all I know how to do. My inner circle students get that first priority on JVing with the deal. You know what I mean? But if the deal is absolutely a righteous deal, shit, man, I ain't turning down nothing but my collar, homie. And most of the time that thing's popped up. You feel me? So I was just talking noise, but yeah, man, yeah, we can do a JV deal. You know what I mean? Because I bring different things to the table, whether it's the knowledge of how to do it creatively, right, or get it on terms. You know what I mean, with the seller if the seller owns it outright, or dealing with the lender, or bringing private money in if we need money, man. You know, or finding a buyer. You know what I mean? So absolutely, dude. Yep, absolutely, we could. On the subject to contract, should I put my LLC name or my real name? Which is why I ask, is it best to get a business bank account first or wait till the first deal? Dude, if you can get a business bank account first, I would get the business bank account first. I absolutely. But when I got my first house, I didn't even have an LLC, man. Shit, I wasn't. I was worried about getting the crib. But yeah, you can get that LLC. I like to buy in trust. I prefer to buy in trust. All right. And you don't need an LLC for a trust. However, most people, get LLCs because that's what they know to do. I have an LLC. So, I mean, I'm not preaching on the soapbox, but the way you put that on your contract is different. All right. So the buyer is going to be your LLC. That's who your LLC is, the buyer. Boom. And then on the signature box, you are either the manager of, right? You sign it with your name, you sign your signature as manager, all right, or as agent. All right. So the buyer is the LLC on that front page. And then on the signature page, you're going to have as the buyer 1E3T Holdings and then your name, right? Reese OK as manager, or it'll say manager with a colon and then Reese OK. And then you sign it. Boom, Reese OK as manager. You always got to put that comma as manager or comma as agent. All right. Hope that helped. Oh man, that's a whole big old conversation, Recio. I got a video on land trust, homie, in my YouTube, man. But you gotta do there's a lot of stuff you gotta do. Damn, Nick, Nick says, LOL, yeah, I went after a FSBO and that means for sale by owner a year ago. They went with a realtor. It's in a great area and it's still on the MLS. What in the fuck? It's still on there, dude. Now's the time you should go after it. Like back then when they first put it on the market, nah. Now though, it's been on the market and it couldn't sell. That means that's an indication that there's some sort of problem, man. So absolutely you want to go after that, all right? Yes, yes, love it, Recio, love it, homie. I don't know what you're talking about there. All right. Oh, you guys was having a conversation. All right, all right. Is it required that all states publish foreclosure properties in a newspaper? And are there any states that don't do it? So, okay, so there's what's called uh legislative foreclosures, all right? And then there's judicial foreclosures, okay? But so there's a different procedure for each, but all of them, and I mean all of them, doesn't matter, all 50 states have to publish those foreclosures before the auction date at least 4 times in a local publication. So some of them will try to trick you and they won't put it in the major newspaper. They'll put it in another publication in the city. Like shit, I think it might be Greenville, North Carolina, dude, that does that shit. Man, they got some whack ass publication they use, and they put the tax lien deed, the tax deed foreclosures in there, and the bank foreclosures in there. But yes, to answer your question, Mike Show, yes, absolutely, they have to be published 100%, 110%. It just depends, man. If you've got Nick says how hard is it to do foreclosure liens out of state? If you it's not any harder if you have boots on the ground, because I've done a bunch of them out of state, man, with students, you know what I mean, and people I've consulted for. So you've got to but you got to have boots on the ground because you're going to be going down to that courthouse and shit, dude. So yeah, as long as you got boots on the ground, you're good. You're good. Yeah, if someone claims to be a contractor, Nick says, ask to see their contracting license. Absolutely, and ask for references. Yeah, hey, do you mind if I speak to some people that you've done some jobs for before? If they trip about that, or if they get disturbed by that, or tense up about that, they're not the guy that you want. You should be glad you asked that question. Cause shit, if somebody asked me, hey, is there somebody I can talk to that's worked with you before? You goddamn Skippy, please do. Yes, please do. Cause shit, I know what people think about me that I've worked with anyway. They know because there's nothing I can tell a person about me because I've shown them everything. I've shown them everything. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna do one more question, then I got to get up out of here because I got to do that workshop for Johnny Lynham students tonight. Okay, Joanna Lira. Joanna, your name looks familiar. Where are you from, Joanna? Put where you from when you ask that question. You know, I'm that small town guy. Some of these people are asking questions and not putting it, but that's because they come on my shows all the time, so I know where all of them are from already. Joanna, your name looks familiar for some reason. But Joanna asks, what contracts are used to get an option to buy? Love it, love it. All right, so oh, and then you said down here, okay, to do a sandwich, to do sandwich leasing. All right, sandwich lease option. Because I was about to say there's different contracts. Like there is an option. There's a standard option to purchase agreement that you can just do the option with. But a sandwich lease option is different. So, and Joanna's from Cali. I'm going back to Cali. Hey. All right, so let me stop, man. I know I'm hurting y'all ears. So a sandwich lease option, you are going to need 3 documents. 3 documents. You will not record any of those 3 documents either. You don't record those documents on public record. And the documents are used for something different. Each document, all right, and they mean something different. So I'm glad I just took this question too, because it's gonna be a decent answer, and then this is gonna be my last one, guys. I got to get up out of here. All right. Okay, so the first document that you're going to use, all right, and you're going to use this with your seller, right? The person selling it. You're going to use, and you're buying, all right? You're the buyer here in the middle. We're doing a sandwich lease option. So you go to your seller, you negotiate it, they say yes, you use your standard option to purchase. It's called a standard option to purchase. And all of our documents are standard. So that's just a habit of me saying standard, but it's really just called an option to purchase real estate. option to purchase real estate, but we call it a standard option to purchase real estate. That's between you and your seller. Now that's where you say how much you are buying the house for, and then when is your option period? When is your option period? Right? Is it 3 years out? Is it 5 years out? Whatever. So that's going to be on that standard option. Then your next document that you will be using, all right, the next document you will be using is a tenancy agreement. That is going to be with your buyer. All right. That is going to be with your buyer because your buyers are going to be living in it. So you're going to use a standard tenancy agreement with them. And this is going to be with your buyer. You're going to use your standard lease assignment document. All right. Standard lease assignment document. So now what that document does is it lets you put your price, whatever you up the price on it, right? Because let's just say you negotiated 100,000 and 5,000 down with the seller. All right. So you got to give the seller 5,000 to get control of it. Well, on that standard lease assignment, you're going to put 120,000 and then you're going to do 10,000 down. So then when you get that 10,000 down from your buyer, you take 5,000 out of that and you pay your seller. The other 5,000 goes in your pocket. Plus you already said to your seller, you and your seller already agreed you were going to buy it for 100. And then you and your buyer, the person that bought it from you, agreed on 120. So guess what? You just made 120,000. And that's not counting your interest and whatnot that you'll get on those monthly payments. So boom, but you need those 3 documents. All right. So guys, I got to get up out of here. I do really appreciate you guys popping on with me tonight, man, showing some love, guys. Don't forget, hit that like button for your boy, get us in the algorithm. If you're new to my channel and you feel like I brought you some value, consider subscribing. All right. But guys, I appreciate you guys coming in. I got to get up out of here. So, hey, until next time, y'all, let's get to it.
I'm a go-getter, some go-getters, we some go-getters, hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter, they some go-getters, we some go-getters, hope you a go-getter. Let's get it. I'm a go-getter, hustle to the end, we some no-quitters, knock it out the park, we for show hitters, right left hemisphere, that's a dome splitter, yeah. We control our own destiny, make moves, cultivate whole legacy, create a finance, bring more ecstasy, the right ingredients, now that's a dope recipe.